there is a distinctive list of 10 of the worst vehicles that people way overpaid. I'm going to share that list with you, as well as some of the tips to avoid overpaying yourself. Let's get into it now.
Life's too short to drive boring cars.
So the first vehicle on our list, and one of the highest paid vehicles over MSRP, is this vehicle right here. It's an absolute gorgeous unit. As you can see, they have those beautiful lines along the side, oversized laser cut rims, and you could tell it's a newer version, as you'll notice the front grille is quite different, where you've got that upper schnoz. You have this great headlights redesign there, and you have this beautiful vent on the side there. As you cycle around, it's just an overall strong looking profile, as you notice right there. And the interior is very, very luxurious, a little Spartan and dark, but it's very high quality. Of course, here you have the beautiful roof rack to haul your bed bug infested mattress to the dumpster. And you'll notice, gorgeous set of tail lights here, quite newly styled with this light bar along the back. As you can see, it's a gorgeous looking unit. Has some nice flares and haunches to it, all kinds of accents and details like that. And we're looking at the RX 350 all-wheel drive version right here. But specifically, it's hard to find. The H is actually the vehicle that we're talking about. This entire lot here is completely sold out. That's right, still very difficult to get any Lexus vehicle today, even more difficult to get the hybrid version, and people were overpaying last year for them. They're guaranteed to be highly reliable, as many Toyota/Lexus products have been typically, although this year they finally upgraded. The old RX 350 used to be that naturally aspirated 3.5 liter V6. Unfortunately, that now is gone away by the dodo bird, and they brought in a turbo 4-cylinder engine and coupled it up with the H with the hybrid assist. So it's a high quality vehicle, reliable, but the hybrid bit, because of technology in the supply chain and electronics and chips, were hard to come by, and that's why there's such a heavy backlog. 2 to 3 years for the average Toyota, that's a hybrid, and one of these is about 1.5 years to get the hybrid version of the RX 350. So as a result of this difficulty in getting these vehicles, people are grossly paying over sticker price, which is listed at about $49,339. People were paying as much as $59,347 this last year, meaning most people were paying over by about 20.3%. Go figure. Does that seem like the smartest financial move? Not really, but people wanted it, so they were paying it. Right there's another one that was very popular this last year. Unfortunately, because of the low numbers, the popular style, people just wanted it, and they paid a lot of money for it. The CT5 Cadillac averaged about $42,000 normally, but people were paying over $50,000 to the tune of about 20.3% over retail price. The first tip to prevent you from overpaying is buy directly from the factory. Now, you can walk into the dealership and you can sit down with their salespeople and write it up and order it, but generally when you do that, you can get sticker, and then you just have to be more shrewd on what you add on extras, but you're able to get the sticker price of that vehicle usually almost bang on the money. The only difference is you have to wait. So it's a waiting game, and everybody overpays because of convenience. They want it today. So if you can resist that, if you can wait a little bit, sit down with the salesperson and write up the deal, pull it up, build your own, and spit it out, and you'll probably get that vehicle pretty much for sticker. And also high on the list of vehicles that people grossly overpaid for were sports cars. Porsche 911 was a high one, but anything associated with a Porsche brand, because of the durability as well as reputation for motorsports, did well. Here's another version of a vehicle that people grossly overpaid this last year. I mean, these are gorgeous little SUVs. As you can see, you cycle along here. They're small, diminutive, but they've got a lot of punch, specifically if you order the right one with the right engine configuration. Some of these come with base turbo 4s, and some of them come with aggressive turbo 6-cylinder engines, and they make a lot of power. They also have great looking wheel packages, nice details. This here is the Porsche Macan, as we see there. Look at the quad tips on this, absolutely gorgeous. You can also get an S as well, and turbos, and all kinds of other great models. The interior is absolutely wonderful as well. Overall, it's a great looking package. People love these, but unfortunately, a lot of people paid just a little too much for these Porsche Macans in this last year. As a matter of fact, the average price for these retails at about $61,589. But unfortunately, people massively overpaid. An average sale price for these last year was $74,275, which means they paid about 20.6% over what it should have stickered for. just means people were really passionate buying from here, not from here. Because let's face it, you can find a lot of great SUVs. You don't need a twin turbo V6 that makes tons of power. You don't need that with a double clutch gearbox. Everybody wants that, but not everybody needs that. So people were overpaying based on their feelings rather than what made sense. Another very popular model that we saw last year that people grossly overpaid for was this Genesis product. This is the largest GV80 as we're looking right here. Large and in charge, very popular, hard to get their hands on. Any Hyundai and Kia products were actually falling in this criteria, but this is one of the biggest ones. Let's take a quick look. As we know, Genesis is an upscale Hyundai brand, and of course it carries some of the improved performance as well as durability, reliability, and Hyundai has been creating a lot more interesting vehicles lately. Big fancy grille, look at these interesting headlights, and look at these oversized rims. Lots of great detailing, fold-away mirrors. Of course, you have this great two-tone door handle, and an interior that's even nicer than Audi, if you would believe it. Beautiful top-level trim on top with that running boards as well as a sunroof. This Genesis here obviously has some great presence to it. Very similar to an X5, it clearly looks like it's going for that market. As we circle around, you get some nice flares and some flares along the side here. It's a gorgeous looking unit. We circle back here, and of course we look down this, and they've got some more interesting taillights here. This is the all-wheel drive 3.5T. Lots of chrome detailing on the bottom of these vehicles. Now these vehicles, the average sticker was $56,388. but people averaged over $68,240 on their transaction price, equivalent to about 21% over sticker on average for these. Would you believe it? That's just silly. And there's the next one there. The Cadillac CT4V is one that was monumental by trying to get a hold of, and people were paying up to 21.1% over sticker for these vehicles. They retail just over $57,000, but there were actually a lot of people paying almost 70 grand for a CT4V because it was the hottest thing. It was a hot, fun, frivolous, and on steroids. Tip number 2, basically avoid all the extras. It's bad enough that you start having to pay extra for the vehicle. Why get snookered? Glass etching, gap insurance, get from your insurance company, you'll probably get a better deal there. Nitrogen, tell them to keep it, put regular air in there. There's a lot of the extras, paint protection film that they'll put on the front of the vehicle. Definitely take it away, take possession of that vehicle, drive it to the local paint protection film and tint shop, they'll get you a better deal. Undercoating, forget it, pointless. Basically, I would personally say don't bother with all the extras because that's where they pump up the pricing and you're going to pay max dollars and overpay. Another model that was highly sought after this year and people grossly overpaid because they just wanted it. They didn't need it. We know the electrification market is kicking up into high gear and people are looking for options outside of Tesla. Here's a great one from one of the sportiest performance manufacturers on the planet. Look at this, what a gorgeous ride. But let's take a closer look at this. Porsche Taycan, they have these gorgeous headlights, quite unique. Down here they have this big chin spoiler here, as well as the typical badges you would expect of honor when you're dealing with a Porsche 911, Taycan, Cayenne, and everything else. Beautiful laser cut rims. Look at that little plug-in port and beautiful mirrors. They have these great flush handles and an interior that is absolutely gorgeous and makes Tesla blush. Big gorgeous glass panel on the roof here, and it cycles down to a nice sloped rear finishing here. Absolutely stunning looking vehicle. The big flares, this car has a profile of its own. Right here we're looking at the Porsche here, and it's a Taycan 4S. One of the best performing electric cars in the market today come from Porsche. You know they're not going to be outdone. So here you go, and people paid a huge amount of money for this type of brand. The average retail price for the Porsche Taycan is $100,169 as a base MSRP, but people were paying an average of $122,940, 22.7% above sticker price just to get their hands on one of these vehicles. They were hard to come by to get your own. There's a few on the lot, they'd walk up and they wanted it, and they overpaid. Another very popular vehicle this year, because it was new and sprightly, represented something a little more utilitarian for the brand, is this little unit right here. Clearly you could see the three-pointed star right there. It's a Mercedes-Benz. Let's take a quick look. You can see Mercedes and their standard wheels. You get this redesigned headlight system. Of course, the front grille is quite different on this SUV. Slightly more squared off as opposed to the GLC over there, which is his bigger brother. Of course, we cycle around. You do have lots of plastics that protect the body. Of course, down here as well, that continues on. And you have chrome handles. It's great. Roof rack to haul your big projects to the dump. And an interior that looks functional yet sprightly as well as luxurious. So these vehicles are beautiful. You have a lot of chrome detail here, a revised set of rear tail lights, and of course we're looking at the GLB 250 right there. and it's 4MATIC, meaning it's all-wheel drive. As you can see as well, this allows you for chomp away through the snow and ice. It's a great utility vehicle through and through. But unfortunately, these retail about $41,000, and most people were paying an average about 50 grand. So slightly over sticker, almost 9 grand. 22.9% over sticker price is what a lot of people were paying for this vehicle, just to have something a little bit fresh and new. It is also relatively affordable, so a lot of people were jumping to the pump, and it has a turbo 4-cylinder engine that is relatively durable in this particular manufacturer. Tip number 3 is basically avoid the latest and the greatest. That's when you get caught up. It's no different when you buy the latest and greatest iPhone. You always want the latest, you're gonna pay the maximum dollar. So maybe if you're looking for a vehicle, buy in the fall. Pick the right time of year. Don't get the latest and greatest unless you really need to have it. Sometimes the outgoing models are just as good or even better, and in Lexus's case, you actually could get the 350. The 3.5-liter V6 was actually a better engine, arguably. So in some cases, you want the outgoing model, skip the new, fresh model, and you can save yourself some money there too. And there's another vehicle that we know people grossly overpaid. These have always been very popular, both new and used, so it's not really a surprise that people tend to get caught up emotionally in buying these vehicles. I mean, Jeeps aren't just utilitarian. People are using them as a little bit of a fashion statement, and they're very interesting, very cool, and people get caught up with the emotions, not so much up here, and they end up overpaying for some of these vehicles. Well, first let's take a look and understand why people are even overpaying. I mean, you typically get a lockable front differential on the Rubicon versions. You can obviously get lift kits. They're very well supported by the aftermarket environment. Obviously, you have great doors here like this. Great tough handles on the vehicle all the way around. These doors are meant to lift off, and this vehicle becomes very versatile. You can take it off-roading, you can definitely take it to the beach in Southern California, and you can use it for snowy and icy road conditions. It's a very popular, rugged, and versatile vehicle, and is an easy one to justify for many people. The average MSRP of a Jeep Wrangler last year was about $35,827. That's if you include the bottom of the barrel 2-door version with a soft top. But if you can believe it, looking at this vehicle for about $44,396 average transaction price, people on average paid 23.9% over the factory MSRP. Grossly overpaid, and I almost guarantee they're definitely going to regret it. The Jeep Wrangler. And the fourth tip is basically, if you don't like the deal you're getting, when you walk into the dealership, sitting down and carving out the deal, be ready to walk. Never get your heart set on it. Basically, be able to walk away from any deal, tell them, I'll go somewhere else, I'll check into it, we'll talk, give me your number or card, see you later. Because if you get caught up emotionally, you're likely gonna overpay. That's the last thing you wanna do, so definitely avoid pushy salespeople and be prepared to walk away. And the biggest loser on this list for people overpaying for these vehicles in this last year is this vehicle right here. Clearly, it's another Genesis. What is this? Well, let's have a quick look. They also have the big bold grille, similar to the GV80. This is another model, very similar. We have the big logo on the front and the slick little headlights, of course, great grills there, and beautiful gunmetal wheels. Mirrors that flash back with this gorgeous roof rack to haul your roach-infested mattress to the dumpster. Of course, beautiful slot back here. Beautiful profiles all the way along, and the interior is very well dressed up as well too. Not quite to the same level of the GV80, but it is pretty. The back end's quite nicely done up. Of course, as we see, we have these great taillights, and we're looking at the GV70 by Genesis, and it's also 4-wheel drive. You'll notice you have these great tailpipes right there. It's a great looking vehicle. Look at the lines. And sadly, for a vehicle that's only stickers at $44,299 average, people were paying over $56,000 to a total overpay of about 27.5% over? Oops, that's gonna leave a mark. There's lots of great other options. Wait this one out. And with all of that said, be sure right there, check it out, 2024's best SUVs. Hope to see you on the next one. Catch you real soon. Bye-bye.